past 2 days of practice have been like since obviously some tough conversations on Friday?
I think it's been more so getting our groove back. Didn't really have the outcome that we wanted last game. So just trying to get back into it, I mean, it's the NBA, things move fast. So put that one behind us. We have another one tomorrow, so just try to focus on that one.
How hard can it be to move on from a game like that? I know, Doug used words like unacceptable, and other guys talk about it. I know it is only one game, but did you guys seem to maybe treat it a little bit more than that?
I mean, yeah, definitely hard when you lose like that, when you don't give yourself even I think we gave ourselves a little bit of a chance, but not a fighting chance to really put yourself in a spot to win. So definitely hard, and especially in the West, how stacked it is, and where we're ranked and everything. So definitely hard to lose ones like that. But I mean, the reality of it is just to have another one tomorrow. So just try not to let 2 in a row happen.
What concerns do you have with this team as you guys kind of step forward?
Me personally, I think it's just, I wouldn't say concerns, but I mean, I think we just have to come out and, make sure everything's right, our energy's right, our focus right, and, attention to detail, and we're on the same page with those things, because I think that'll take care of itself. Or that will, yeah, take care of itself when we go out there.
What kind of talks have you guys had in recent days, just in terms of avoiding stagnant offense?
Just trying to keep movement, with whether we try to break something off or do I wouldn't say our own thing, but try to create for ourselves, make it tougher on us, with time left, and still understand that there's time to probably get better looks, and make sure guys are cutting to the right spots, and things like that. So those things I think will definitely help us.
The difficulty of just having so many new faces. How hard is that for people who maybe can't relate to that?
Oh, I mean, yeah, it's definitely hard. That's like, I mean, you throwing someone in a group project, in the middle of it. So definitely tough, but I mean, that's our job to kind of figure that out. So, I mean, we're going to still continue to work through that and, try to put ourselves in the best situation. So, but just staying with it, though, it's not going to happen in a day, but I mean, I think we're getting better.
And what do you guys kind of hyper-focus on these past 2 days?
I think making sure everyone knows where we're actually supposed to be cutting to, and so that way when there's times like the ball isn't moving, make sure like we know that, okay, we can still get into these options here, where a guy should be at in the offense to help another out. So things like that.
Jake, well, just how would you describe maybe what you guys have been up to these past 2 days coming off that loss?
Yeah, just fine-tuning some things, working on some stuff offensively and defensively, just kind of fixing up some things that we struggle with out there, and like I said, just fine-tuning those things and getting ready for his next game.
Did that feel like more than just a loss to the Warriors? I mean, it felt like there was some weight that came with it.
Yeah, I mean, it was I think we struggled a little bit in a good amount of areas. It obviously wasn't like a close game or anything like that. They had a good lead, and we take that to heart. We came in the next day, we talked about it, we worked on what we needed to work on, and I think we're going to be better than that, obviously. But yeah.
Do you feel like you are getting comfortable with this team now?
Yeah, I think I'm still getting adjusted, obviously. Learning, their offensive schemes, just their plays, what they do defensively. But for the most part, coaches just say, go out there and play. Flow with the offense. It's kind of just a lot of movement and certain sets that we get into that we just stay in. So just kind of getting adjusted to all that stuff. And then defensively, I think it's been a pretty easy adjustment. Just keeping up with the toughness that I bring on the defensive end and just playing hard.
Have you gotten a sense of what this fan base, what the Kings mean in this community?
Yeah, I mean, we did a little event yesterday even, and I've seen it even playing here when I was on the opposing team, and just how into it they are, how loud they get, and it's a great fan base. Like, I've gotten a lot of support so far from myself even, but I see how much the Kings mean to this fan base. So
when you kind of look around and you see this talent that's on this team, now that you've kind of been here a little longer, is it exceeding maybe expectations of what this team could be, despite maybe some of the struggles that you've had, or is it kind of meeting some of those?
Say that again.
Just some of the talent that surrounds you here on this team and what could be. I mean, is it, now that you kind of got to be familiarized with it a little bit more, I mean, is it a little bit more than maybe you expected when you first got here, or is it kind of meeting those?
Yeah, I mean, I've played against these guys before, and now that I'm playing with them, obviously I see how they work, and obviously there's a lot of talent on this team, and there's big expectations where what we could be, and I think that's what we're trying to work towards right now.
And how do you just kind of look at your own individual performance? I mean, it seems like every time you're out there, people notice you and your activity. And how much do you feel like you guys are benefiting from that?
Yeah, I think for the most part right now, as I'm still, just trying to get adjusted to how, the rest of the guys play on the court, me playing with them and just fitting on the court, just controlling what I can, playing hard, like I said, like I've, been diving on the ground, kind of just doing what I do, being tough, playing physical, getting steals, just trying to make an impact on winning as best as I can, and then just kind of let everything else, fall around that, like making shots and stuff like that, which I'm not as worried about. But
How different is Doug Christie's coaching style, just that in the time that you've been here, what you've seen from him, and how his message gets translated, how you digest it?
Yeah, I mean, it's been good so far. I think we've had a lot of good communication. He's talked to me a lot about, my fit on this team and kind of just how I'm getting adjusted. He talks a lot about how, we played on the Grizzlies and how he's, kind of trying to incorporate some of that stuff now. And so we have a lot of good communication back and forth. But it's been really good so far, a lot of positive feedback, and I've enjoyed it.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Much different from yesterday in terms of kind of getting things right, and I guess when you look at it, just the benefit of having these 2 days of practice for you guys.
Yeah, sometimes the universe conspires for you. It hasn't in certain areas, and today and yesterday I thought were really good days where the light was flickering and the light came on. Now we need to obviously do it on the stage, but there were a lot of really good things, like them starting to ask questions, correct each other. There are things like that I feel special teams and teams that start to take those steps up the ladder that they do, and I've seen a lot of it on both sides, on offense and defense, and those are conversations that have to be had. It's like I can continue and we as a staff can show you film and show you breakdowns and all those things, but not until you own it and then you guys start correcting each other does it take that real magical leap.
Is there a individual voice, maybe a couple guys that you look to have to play that role? I remember, Mike had that leadership committee, and I don't know if that trickles over into what you're looking for, but is there one person you look for and say, gosh, this needs to be the guy that does that?
I mean, it's a good question, Sean, but I think really, like, those are things that you find out in training camp and different, because a lot of times you can identify who you think is your leader, and then all of a sudden you find out that actually somebody else is your leader. And, those are things that you kind of, so you let them work together and you let them have their voice, and all of them were in it today. Like, everyone had a voice. And what you're going to find is the voice finds its way to the top.
Yeah. Coach just said something, what's your response when players come to you and start asking these questions?
Mm-hmm.
They seem like, they're in a position where, maybe I'm not doing something right, or maybe I'm doing something good, that I need some more feedback.
For me, I try to engage them as much as possible so that it always keeps the safe spot, for they always feel like they can say whatever they need to say, good or bad or indifferent, it doesn't matter. And when that happens, and I was blessed obviously to be an assistant coach, and I mess with those guys, every single one of them. I talk to them in a way that I never have changed as a head coach, even though, the title changed, how I approach you, what I say in the morning to you, how all those things stay the same. So hopefully that safe place stays, and they have the ability to feel like they're comfortable enough to come talk to me. And so far, so good. Now I have to also build that with new players, and then I have to build that with new units, and then bench units. Like, there are different little sects within a team that you have to be able to address, and trying to do all of that is time consuming and tough, but it's actually the part probably that I enjoy the most, because it's relationship based with the players, which I truly care for them all.
When they walk away, do you feel like, you gave them the best response?
You had to ask them that because my responses are wild sometimes. So sometimes I had Coach Carrill, to give you an example, and Coachy would say things to me in a way. My reference of it is like he would hand me a grenade and he would pull the pin and walk away. But you never, and then it might blow up then, it might blow up later, but the aha moment happens. So the things I say to them, sometimes they might be like, what the hell is Coach saying? But then all of a sudden they go, I get what you're saying. And that's really what I'm looking for more than anything. And for each player, it's different. I'm not a coach, in my opinion, that you cookie cut everything for everybody. You have to know them individually, know the things that they like, know the different examples that you give them. One might, is hip hop, and one might be rock and roll. So I have to have a vast knowledge of being able to deal with those players and just trying to bridge that gap in communication. I always find it interesting.
I know what Coachy means to you. I mean, do you feel like he was so blunt? I mean, I just wonder if his strategy would even work today with young guys who kind of need to be fed with optimism and positivity.
You're right, because he was very blunt. But our conversations were a little different. Like, he would be talking about life and using basketball as an analogy. Or to reverse that, he'd be talking about basketball and using life as an analogy. So it depends. I think Coachy could coach anybody because he cares enough about the person for him to try to figure out how to get to him, not saying this is the way that it is and you need to figure it out. And that's something that I've taken from him, because I personally don't think that's the way to go. Like, there are a lot of different ways to solve the problem. Do I care about them enough to try to figure it out on my own? And I tell them, like, man, I'm thinking about you guys like way too much, man. Like, I'm at the house, I'm walking my dog, I'm like, yo, like, I need a second. But it's a lot of fun, man.
What's your ideal rotation for Markelle Fultz? How many minutes do you want to get him a game? And, are you happy with what he's done so far?
Well, I was happy with what he did when he got in the game. As far as ideal, I'm not 100% sure yet. I think he has to find his rhythm with the group that he's given. And part of what he needs to do is run that show. And then if he's good in that, I think that's where it begins to bolster and become more. But also he's working his way in, not only into the team, physically, all those different, there's a lot of different things going on. So I have to respect that at the same time. And I try to communicate with him every day, like, how you feeling, what you seeing, do you know that? Because, like, he needs to know his job, but he also needs to know everybody else's job. And that's a big task, especially when you're coming in and you're not sure how much you're going to play and you're not sure who's going to be on the floor. So when we script, we're trying to put him with different people so he understands how Domas likes it, but then he also understands how Malik likes it. Like, that, it's a lot. So I can't give you an answer, but I do like what I see.
Hey, Doug, not to be too blunt, but it seems like the details and the little things and effort have been the message all season for this team. Why do you think that hasn't really taken root on the court yet, or at least in a way that's really translated to consistent winning? And what do you think? Like,
you mean prior or now?
For me, it seems to have been the whole season, but maybe just speak to your tenure, since that's really.
Well, I don't think, like, I've had a problem with that, to be honest with you. Like, I thought that when I took over, they were highly aggressive. They went in on the road into hostile environments and played at a really high level. Now, maybe since trades and all that stuff, but that's what I said yesterday. A lot of that's to be expected because the guys are now, they're thinking on the floor. You don't want players thinking on the floor. If you think on the floor at this level, it's a wrap. It's done. It has to become second nature. And I think these 2 days hopefully have given us a better idea of how to solve those problems. But as far as effort and all that, I haven't. When I go back and I watch the tape, do I see it sometimes? But I don't see it from a, like, I don't want to give effort standpoint. I see it from a what am I supposed to do standpoint. And those are two totally different things. Like, if I knew what to do, I would already be up. If I knew what to do, I would already be rotating. And that's just that's different. But and I can't speak about everything else, but I'm just talking about what I've experienced. Yeah. You guys good? You got one? We're good.